Oh.
Guess who?
Fish?
Yes.
Oh, I guessed right. How is Fish doing? We are live.
She's better.
Good.
She's starting to like get treatment and shit.
That's what's up. We miss you, Fish.
I know.
We also miss
shit out of her.
ourselves, our first time back in like a fucking month because I broke. For anyone who didn't know, who's not in the Discord.
Oh, are we live right now?
Yeah, I just hit the live button.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's doing better.
Good. I'm very glad. I miss recording with Fish, and I hope that we can record some episodes in the future with her.
I would absolutely love to have her back.
No Scott today, unfortunately. I think we kind of decided very randomly earlier today if we were recording, so I think Scott slept late or something. No worries. We will get Scott the next time. I feel like this podcast kind of just like it goes with the wind, you know, we just kind of whatever works. Because life
And I
a
am
lot
like
of
the
shit
sun.
happened.
I show up fucking regardless.
I appreciate your dedication so much. You have no idea.
You're most welcome, friend.
But yeah, it's been a lot the past month for me and Rue. This is episode 107, if my count. Good. Episode 107. Here we are. Lucky 107.
We were lucky we would have hit $1 million in Atlantic City. But we did it. You got a broken foot
He
instead.
broke his foot, and his parents are shit. And we're on a long podcast, and this song is really racist.
Literally.
I just started singing, and then it went to that song, and I was like, "Wait, that song's racist." I'm just gonna say this song's racist and fucking stop it.
I guess like I don't. I guess like it would be to recap because I think like the last time we recorded it was just after our hand fasting. I think
correct.
It was like the day after or something like that. And the hand fasting ceremony went great. It was fine. You know, there's hiccups there, but ultimately that was great. And then like we had a little weekend in between, and then we were gonna go to Atlantic City for a couple days, come home, pack, and then go camping for a couple days. That's like kind of how we did our little honeymoon sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Ocean City, Atlantic City was great. I had a great time. It wasn't too hot, so like, I didn't burn to a crisp. Rue burnt a little bit for me. Took the sun for me. I appreciate that. It was good.
When you say "took the sun from me," it really makes it sound like Rue had a like 1v1 with the sun.
It really,
you know what I mean?
Like,
it fucking felt that way. Like that on the boardwalk, I was like, I'm burning, Chris. Like, I was like, can I have your hoodie to put on the back of my neck because I'm burning?
And I'm like, yes, honey, I will freeze my titties off so that you don't get burnt by the sun. Because I'm skipping down in leggings and a tank top, and I still have the tan lines. My camera could probably pick them up.
Yeah, life's been weird for all of us. Like, not to say that I'm glad your foot broke, because I'm not, but
Right.
for me, it was probably for the better that I wasn't recording for the past 4 weeks, because like starting Mnemosyne has been really weird, to the point where I would have probably wanted to talk about it when I shouldn't have, because I should shut the fuck up about it.
How much can you say about it? Like, how secretive is the practice?
It's not a society. It's not a secret society,
right?
But it's a society that is secret.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're very
so like they don't give their tech away. Right. Like there's rules where you can show off, because like that's how Forrest recruited a lot of us, by showing off what he could do. And a lot of us going, holy shit, that's intense. Can I like where do you learn that? Right. It's like, well, you have to go through this and do this stuff and jump through these hoops. And very few people hear those and are like, I too am good at jumping hoops and studying courses for an extended period of time. Most people go, 2 years extended study where I can't dip out and I have to be there every week. Fuck, I can't commit to that.
Yeah.
So kind of the course load is the great determining factor as to whether or not somebody continues with it. And
you're able to maintain it like with working and stuff? Like, is work busy for you? Or are you in like a lull?
So because they opened up a Sunday class for Omnimancy, I don't have to worry about it. Still, it's really easy to say, hey, I need Sunday off for religious purposes, right?
Yeah,
Religious and rest purposes. They can't really say dick about it.
Yeah.
Like you're not really asking for a lot to say, I need one day out of the week and it's the Lord's Day, right? Like the system is kind of built in a way that reinforces white hegemonic
I mean, it's
bullshit.
like
So they're like, you going to church? Go to that church. You get that holy bread, girl. Go to Gator.
It's not like a if you can't beat 'em, join 'em thing. It's more like a just roll with it. You know, like use the system to your advantage kind of thing.
If you can't beat them, pretend, or if you can't beat them, no, if you can't beat them, run your operations in parallel time slots so you can pretend that you're not trying to actively undermine them.
Exactamundo.
Oh, but yeah, so it's good because we're doing Sunday slots, and like I said, I can claim I need Sunday off, period end, for religious purposes as a day of religious observation. That's not really asking a lot since the 1920s. I think that's something we've kind of had pretty on lockdown. Yeah. So it's really not hard for me.
What'd you say?
Go ahead.
No, I was like, you would think so, but I've actually... In Canada, sure, but in the States, not so much.
I'm talking film specifically. Yeah. If I worked in the food industry, this would be a different thing. First off, productions actually have to have different agreements about working on weekends. You have to understand that, like, film has its own legislative body as opposed to, no, it's not, because we have to legally work 80 hours a week before we even get fucking overtime. Or like bullshit like that. It's not actually 80 hours a week, but we don't earn overtime until we've worked over 14 hours a day because that's how our collective agreement works. It's kind of fucked up, isn't it?
It is.
So the film thing makes it so that companies, for example, don't want to run productions on weekends because then they have to pay overtime, right? Like in our collective agreement, they can't fuck us for overtime. If we work 5 days a week, they're paying us overtime the whole fucking 6th day, right? And the 7th
so
day.
You're often not working weekends.
I pretty much never have to as a production assistant.
That's cool. I mean, that works out.
Yes.
You know, you're to attend events.
But if I was an LSP, I would have to work Sundays because that job is like set up around working when the PAs aren't in, because you're watching equipment, right? So like when I'm not doing my job as a PA and like setting shit up and like doing the base camp and all that shit, there's a LSP at that camp who's watching shit when we're not filming and we're not in, right? So the reason I don't work Sundays is because I'm a production assistant and I have a collective agreement and I get guaranteed overtime, and companies do not want to pay that overtime. So if an employee says in their bargaining process, I need Sundays off for religious purposes, it's probably one of the easiest things that you can get signed in your agreement.
Which is good. My company kind of fucked me out of some. Pretty upset about it.
They stole 12 hours of his wages.
Yeah, it was like 11.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of my overtime stolen too when I was an LSP. I never got overtime once, despite 7-ish jobs I worked. Not days, jobs would have given me multiple different instances of overtime. Fuck, they were working me 7 days a week and splitting it between fucking different weeks to try and... It was bullshit. But anyways.
I was out most of the month of May because, so I had off literally May 1st because I officiated a hand fasting. And then my grandfather died, and then was my hand fasting, and then
you broke your foot,
and then I broke my foot. So then you had to take days off.
And then somebody else
pretty
died.
much since
no,
just my grandfather, just the one death.
But I'm just joking because that's a nasty chain of events. It's like, yeah, somebody died and like my foot broke and
yeah, that's literally like what happened, like kind of, and then like. Now I think now the pressure is properties are being sold from grandpa's estate and whatnot, and money will be coming to us, which is good, in the form of we could make a considerable down payment on a house which is good.
Hold on, can we go back to how your company, though, you worked 100 hours and they actually only paid him for 88? That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah,
He worked 100 hours and they paid him for 88.
Yeah.
They took 12 hours of overtime from his paycheck.
Yeah, the reason
they've done similar out here.
Yeah, the reason they did that is because according to their policy, they only pay overtime if it's time worked. So if you have PTO on your timesheet, or if there's holiday pay on your timesheet.
Oh, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, and that's actually like.
And
that's one of the ways that
wage theft.
You'll never get that stuff as an LSP either. Like that's how they would rob you too.
Yep.
You would get put to do overtime, and then the production would say, "Okay, you did the overtime, but we didn't agree to you doing overtime.
Right.
Your company staffed you, irrespective of the agreement, and so therefore you don't get that time paid.
And
we
the whole
didn't ask for you."
That and like I'm working the overtime while I'm in the worst pain of my broken foot process. So like, and the reason I'm working.
And he worked it on a Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm literally working Saturday. Like my job is Monday through Friday, and I worked Saturdays just to like try and get ahead, because I was behind. And I did it like because I was like, all right, well, let me catch up, let me work really hard, and I'll get paid for it, and get the fucking overtime, make the extra money. And then I got completely fucked out of it, and I'm just like, well, you're just getting my 40 hours a week, not doing shit. Nothing extra, because.
And then they call that fucking quiet quitting when you just do your 40 hours.
Do your 40 hours.
Meanwhile, I had to leave my job. I applied for FMLA. They said that it could not be processed for 6 weeks, so they forced me to resign. PA approved my unemployment claim, but because the company denied it because I resigned, I don't have a job. But thankfully, now that's why we're focusing on the podcast. That's
stupid.
why we're focusing on the shop.
Your job forced you out for a stupid ass reason. Basically, I just needed some extra help for like 2 to 3 weeks, realistically, around the house because my foot was fucking broken. That's all. And so really all you asked for was a work from home accommodation, which you already work from home 2 out of 5 days a week anyway. So it was like, why can't I just work from home for the next 3 to 4 weeks or whatever, And they were like, well, so-and-so has to make that call and they're out for 3 weeks. Blah, 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 blah. It's like they made it impossible for you to stay. So, but honestly, we were talking and we're like, the only way that the business side of things is really going to take off is if one of us is able to dedicate ourselves to it full time. And so I already work from home, so it kind of just makes sense that like Rue's here and like we just work as a team with kind of everything.
Teamwork, baby. Mom wants to get ring tattoos of the Wonder Twin powers, like the change into the power of a bucket kind of thing. So me and my mom are gonna get matching ring tattoos.
Wonderful. So other than your Mnemosyne stuff, what else has been going on, Sophia?
Just trying to overthrow the government.
Just trying to overthrow the government. No big.
Look. In a world where government officials are selling out our future, somebody's got to do something.
Oh my god, I forgot to ask you. How was everything with the fires and smoke and shit? Because we got it here and it was.
I don't live in Quebec.
So it didn't. That's interesting.
Y'all got it worse. Y'all got it worse than we did.
That's interesting. I guess the way the wind blew. Huh. Because I could have swore like
we bought 2 air filters.
Like when I was looking at the map, like I could have swore that I saw like the same like smoke haze kind of cloud over Toronto, and I was like, oh shit.
We got a little bit, but it was not even a drop in the bucket compared to what New York got.
Kind of crazy the way that.
Well, you saw about our 95, right? I shared the live stream. You can watch it being rebuilt. That happened within 0.5 miles of our house.
Yeah, the highway fucking collapsed around the corner from the house.
It's like the exit I get.
I'm gonna make a prediction. In about 3 years, we're gonna have a fundamental society shift that people aren't prepared for.
3? I say 6 months.
No,
I feel like 3 years is pretty fair.
We're not so lucky to have it happen in just 6 months.
Yeah. Something definitely feels like it's going to pop off. Like, there's just... If anything, this
Do you know why I say 3 years?
Why 3 specifically?
Because I'll be done my training and I'll be doing shit.
Should I start your superhero cape that commissioned?
No, but you can get my anti-hero tights ready.
Okay, I will Harley Quinn baseball.
No.
I just
think
I
more,
love that.
Think more. Doctor Strange is unhinged and really mad.
I always like that about Harley, though. She doesn't really like guns. She doesn't really do guns. She just smashes things with a baseball bat. I'm like, I feel that.
We had this fight in my Discord. Guns are really practical for a reason. They're
I agree.
They're good for fighting.
Guns are. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight, right?
You don't bring a baseball bat to a gunfight.
No, you bring a gun to a gunfight, or else you're not gonna win the gunfight.
You can also bring a tomahawk, but like you got one throw, buddy.
It's the other thing that like.
That's a joke. That's a joke. Don't bring a tomahawk to a gunfight.
Don't bring a tomahawk to a.
Bring a tomahawk to a knife fight.
Yeah, you'll probably win that.
I guarantee you'll win it because a tomahawk has more reach than a knife. Even if you don't throw it, it's a hand axe.
I didn't know this was the apocalypse survival episode, but here we are. I guess it's fitting. I've been.
As I paint my lips black, painted black. Sorry,
it's not the apocalypse survival episode. It's just the preparing for the revolution episode.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like I've definitely I know that I'm an adult, right? But I haven't really felt like one until very recently.
Oh god.
Like it all kind of like hit. Yeah, like it all hit me, and I was like, my grandfather died. I got married. I broke my foot. Like it was just like boom, 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 like like it was just, and then it was like wildfires, and like all these things just happened within like days of each other.
And suddenly he turned to the mirror and asked, "Am I an adult now?"
Right, and the universe is like, yes.
The Buddha was right. Life is inherently suffering.
Right.
No, it's not.
It's not, and it doesn't.
It's just what Buddhists. It's just what Buddhists tell themselves to stay away or to keep themselves happy at night.
And I think it's
life
more
is
like
suffering.
It doesn't have to be, and I think that's just like that's my whole thing is like
that's why we use magic to kill rich people.
Like this highway collapse is probably the best example of like how we can achieve great things if we all just work together. So the highway collapse, it's like a major exit along this highway. It's fucking everything up, like local traffic. It's fucking the whole city up, right? So they have crews 24/7 since it collapsed. They have had crews out there 24/7 working on it. You know, clearing it all out, fixing it all up. They're saying
billionaires in America act like they don't even have to drive on those fucking roads that they don't pay taxes for.
Right, exactly. So they have these crews, and I was like, wow, look at what we... And they're saying, like, they'll have, like, a temporary kind of, like, passageway open in, like, 2 weeks. There has been construction projects on that highway since the dawn of time. And they're just like, oh, well, it'll be done when it's done, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wow, look at this. When we all work together and we throw money at one thing, look at what happens. Now look at all the money that we have in the world. If we just throw money and manpower and stuff at people, you just get it done. I don't know. Stella, hey, how are you? Oh, Christella is very much enjoying your mirror, Rue.
Yeah. We don't stand Jeffree Star quite anymore, but I do own a lot of their products. Love you. Yes. with a nice BD sticker on it. We do support them.
Yeah.
Oh, where the fuck's my shit? So life, magic, drugs, sex, monkeys, It's all coming full picture, baby.
Elon's killing all the monkeys with his brain chips, and I think we should launch Elon into Mars.
Now, look, I keep hearing people say shoot him into Mars and shoot him into the sun, but I keep saying, look, let's be open to alternative rocket placements. You could strap one to each leg and see which direction he flies. Okay, there's options.
I support this, actually. You have my vote, Sophia, for world leader. Thank you.
my slogan will be: I wasn't even aware I was campaigning.
But you actually get elected as world leader, and you're like, oh fuck, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that was not my intention.
No, that'll be my friend Prism. They're gonna be running for the U.S. shit. They're already running for their local political bullshit in Michigan.
Oh,
hi Prism.
Hello.
We always give a shout out to Jessica Crowley out in Jim Thorpe, PA. We love her, local pig and MB rep here in PA. And also like Zoe Zephyr and their partner, like queers in power. Amen. Happy Pride.
Fathers.
Oh,
don't
I texted my daddy today. Did you?
I just realized you gave me the dad mug. Like, it's Father's Day.
It's like I'm a witch or something. I don't know.
I did not text.
I texted my daddy. Oh God, that might be taken wrong. Don't text your father if your father doesn't care about you, children. Okay.
We respect boundaries.
Had to go magically lay hands.
That also works.
I will say though, like magically, I think I've been doing a lot of like I guess self-love. My friends Vincent and Lexa, they got me this gigantic chunkin piece of rose quartz. This shit is massive, and it's like curled like a flame. Like it kind of looks like a little swirly flame.
Always make sure to stat everybody.
Yeah. This is also a makeup tutorial if anyone's been paying attention to Rue in the corner.
Take your very expensive headphones off before you spray your face.
Mm-hmm. Might be a good idea. But yeah, I guess things in like the self-love department. But if anything, breaking my foot has taught me a lot about patience, and that is something that I have always been trying to work on. But yeah, because I'm like, oh damn, I really can't do much, and that really sucks. And I'm really used to just getting up and doing something, or just getting up and going, you know. I also learned, not that I didn't really know this before. Like I knew that the world was not very like handicap accessible, right? Like I knew that, but to experience it firsthand, like you know, I have like a temporary disability, so we actually went to the zoo they had like a pride event thing.
The pride at the zoo.
Yeah, and we're members at the zoo, so I'm like, oh, we'll just go. We went to the zoo, and so we rented a wheelchair, just like a regular manual wheelchair. And I was like, wow, there's just like certain places I can't like really navigate into or like access. So I just wanted to, you know, give a little shout out, and I see you
as someone with a permanent disability who actually learned how to walk at the Philadelphia Zoo, because I was in braces for 2.5 years. I knew, and I've been a member at the zoo for 30 years. The Philadelphia Zoo has done so many wonderful things to make itself accessible to its disabled members. But I did, upon we were leaving, I was like, we used to have a shuttle like to take us from the zoo back to the parking garage, because that's really the most inaccessible part, is that you have to walk at least a quarter of a mile to get from the parking garage where my handicapped car is parked, to get from that garage to the front of the zoo. Now, I understand you can do a drop off or anything, but if both parties are driving and are handicapped. Like that's really the only accessible, but they've paved that, they've made it softer for people to walk on. And the fact that I only had to pay $8 to rent a wheelchair for the entire day because I was a member. And they offer mobility scooters from $30. It was a whole new way of seeing the zoo, and the fact that it was Pride, we could walk around. I was wearing rainbow pasties underneath a see-through shirt, and he was wearing his tank top with his top scars very visible, and we were carrying our rainbow dash backpack, and we felt at home. No one, people were looking because look at these two queers in a wheelchair, like walking around the zoo, but it was in a good way. It was in an empowering way. So,
yeah, it was because like prior to going to the zoo, I hadn't really been putting a lot of weight on my foot or anything, and I was reaching the point where it wasn't as much pain, and I was like, I have to figure out how to walk in this boot. As we were walking from the parking garage to the zoo, I saw this lady walking. She had the exact same boot on that I had. And she was walking a lot better, so I guess she was a little further along in her healing process. But I saw the way she was walking, and so I kind of just like I had like a walker. I pushed the walker to the side, and I just like kind of started to mimic the way this lady was walking, and I was like, oh my god, I can fucking walk. Like, it's very emotional. So emotional at the zoo. I learned how to walk at the zoo.
You went coyote on it.
Exactly.
You saw and you copied.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never injured myself to that extent before, so it was healing from an injury like this has been an experience.
Yep, every little thing. Like even when I was recovering from my voice surgery, you find out how able society is for people who can speak, right? I couldn't use like sign language with people. I would have to like use loose signs that people could understand,
like
not
sort of
like
universal
actual
signs. Yeah.
Kinda. And like there's one interaction I had really stood out in my mind. I was at Pride here in Toronto, and there was a vendor dude, and he was like trying to get my attention, and I couldn't really say anything because I can't talk. And he, like, as I was leaving, he was like, okay, cool, thanks for the good conversation. And I just wanted to go back and be like, fuck you, I can't even speak right now. And you say thanks for the good conversation, not even knowing that I don't have the ability to respond vocally. How fucking ableist do you have to be to do that to somebody at a Pride event, right? When I'm very clearly unable to talk back to you.
Yeah. And like it just sucks because like sometimes I put myself in that guy's position, right? Maybe he's pissed off about something. He's had a bad day, and then you just not responding to him was just like the thing that just made him go, oh yeah, well, fuck you, But it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, but it's a Pride event, and like I very clearly was trying to motion that I couldn't speak. Like they pointed to my throat and said I can't speak.
It just sucks that like people, I don't know, and I think because like how I broke my foot, I broke it of a very emotional reaction, very emotional conversation with my mother. It was not great, and I'm not proud of the way that I reacted to the conversation that we were having, and I think like me being so angry and emotional and the way that I threw my body in the way that it should not have moved, it was like a lesson in like I need to be done with that kind of reaction. I get pissed off about things, but I cannot keep doing that because it's not helping anyone. If anything, it's just a detriment to me at this point. And like
he saw his parents for the first time yesterday since breaking his foot. Yeah. And they honestly didn't. They asked. I was passed out for the majority of the meeting yesterday, so Jay can fill in if he so chooses.
Well, no, we just went over my sisters to talk about like money and bank accounts and property stuff. So that's like really all it was about.
But it was also the first time they had seen you since you'd broken your foot.
Right, and basically I just told my mom, oh, I fell in my bedroom. I didn't get into the fact that like it was after that knockdown, drag out screaming match we had on the phone with each other where I got blackout angry. I didn't tell her that. My sister kind of told her that, but that's fine. Honestly, I just don't really give a shit anymore. I just want to just move forward with them and just not deal. But I can't remember when the hell we were out driving last. We stopped for gas. Whenever the hell it was, we stopped for gas. Can't remember. But between like the gas station and like the drive home, I had this like message from the universe. I don't know what it was, but it was just this sense of surrender to the now, surrender to the present. And ever since then, I've kind of just been like allowing myself to fall into that mindset because I spend a lot of time in the future and worrying about how am I going to do everything that needs to be done. And what I realize is like things just happen. Things get done because they have to get done, you know? So that's just something that oh, hello there.
Sluts.
Oh, I love your shirt. Fucking magic. That is fantastic. But yeah, just
cat over here watching cat TV. Anyways,
oh, kitty.
Oh, and to top it all off, our cats have some type of Demodex infection, and so we have to round them up Wednesday morning and take them to the vet for a skin scraping.
Yeah, I think they got some kind
like,
of
that's
mite problem. Like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on. We get bug issues all the time. I clean my house like a fucking nutcase. I don't know. It's probably because the rugs are like 50 years. Oh, Christelle.
Probably. Look at this cat, though.
Workman's comp injuries, Krista. I can't even. Me and Rue were talking about.
He wasn't injured at work.
No, I wasn't. No, Chris was saying, I got a bad concussion at work almost 2 years ago and haven't been able to work since. And the lack of understanding and support I've gotten from workers' comp, former bosses, admin staff, and society in general is just angry emojis.
Right there with you, honey.
And you're still sensitive to bright lights and wear really dark sunglasses inside the store. And you still wear masks when out shopping. Huh.
All good. Yep.
Yeah. It's just, when I had vertigo issues, and even still, sometimes I have problems in stores, like, repeating patterns, just like seeing all those things like stocked on the shelves in such a way, like it visually just like throws me off. And sometimes I just get really overwhelmed inside stores, so I totally feel that. And people are just really not understanding. And you can even explain to people like, oh, I had an injury, oh, I did this, or oh, I had a concussion, and they're like, okay, yeah, we don't care. It's just, you're right, it's ridiculous. Right? What is this kitty looking at? What is outside is what I want to know.
A bird.
Oh, a bird.
A robin, and she's like chirping at it.
Oh, look at this. Hi, sweetie pie.
You get that bird.
Both these void kitties are hunters. They like will chase lights across the roof.
Yeah.
If a fly gets into the house, it's sky rays and time to eat it, you know? So
yeah, our cats
she's doing bird TV right now. She watches the birds. She does this and knocks shit over in the process.
In our back room, there is a starling nest. There's like a hole in the wall.
Fuck starlings, they're invasive as fuck.
They
destroy crops.
I know.
Yeah.
They've destroyed ours.
Yeah.
Do you know why they're invasive?
It's because they
were introduced here.
But
they
why?
bully other birds out of their. It's like they bully other birds out of their nests, and then they drop their eggs in it, and then that bird raises their kids, and then they just spread like wildfire.
So do you know why they're here though?
No, I don't know how they got.
They were introduced by humans.
Yes, but why? There's a story.
Oh, probably to kill something else, I would imagine, to eat something else.
It's because somebody was a Shakespeare fan, and Shakespeare wrote about starlings and other European songbirds. So this jackass, before there was laws about it, had them imported to North America. There's a lot of songbirds that are here from Europe that don't behave well in the environment, and it's because some jackass thought he'd be doing everybody a favor, and he listened to too much, or when he watched too much
That's also the reason
Shakespeare.
That's also the reason our patron, the red-winged blackbird, is seen in America. The red-winged blackbird shouldn't be in America. It's an old world bird. But because of the not this specifically that red-winged blackbird, but blackbirds are native to Europe. They're not native to America. Every blackbird, raven, crow, whatever you see in America was introduced at some point because they're not supposed to be here.
Fact check.
I don't know about that second part with any corvid, because they can travel long fucking distances.
No, not any corvid, but...
We looked this up before. No, the red-winged
In fact,
blackbird...
I know Raven was here beforehand because the Sitka have stories about it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
Obviously, I'm not but yes.
No, the red-winged blackbird is North and Central America.
That's where they're found. Is that where they're native to, though?
I mean, that's the only places you find them.
I don't know, because the first time I looked it up, it said it was a European blackbird. And I was like, okay.
Mm.
Like the first time I Googled red-winged blackbird, it said it was a European blackbird that can be found in the Americas.
Yeah, I'm just... No, it doesn't say that they were really introduced here. I think that's just where they're native to, North and South. Yeah. Oh, their diet consists almost entirely of insects, so they don't really even like eat people's crops and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Good bird. Excellent.
But yeah, no, it was crazy. I was driving around and I was doing errands for my mother because not only, of course, he broke his foot. I had my mother came down with some type of stomach virus. She's still suffering from it. She doesn't have an immune system, so I don't really think the virus will ever go away without her going, like, without some medical intervention. And because my mother refuses medical intervention, it's kind of an endless loop there. But I was driving around and I saw, I always mess them up. It's their whatever corvid is native to America. I don't know if it's crows or ravens. I know it's
crows.
Thank you. Crow being attacked by, like, literally on our block, a crow being attacked by a squadron of starlings because it had something in its beak. And I literally like screamed out my window at the starlings. Like, I didn't want to throw anything because I didn't want to hit the crow itself. And I'm like, can you leave her alone, please? And then it was funny when I was driving back home. That was when I was leaving home. When I was driving back home, an actual like full size crow literally flew in front of my car. Like the wingspan was my windshield, and I was like, oh, and like I was driving slow enough that I like applied the brake and it just flew past me. But it was like literally like I was like, well, that's pretty cool. For corvids being not common to the Americas. Like, I'm used to seeing starlings, and I know how terrible they are for the environment, and it's cool to see actual corvids come back.
You should check out the West Coast, because there's fuck tons there. That's essentially where they live. Yeah. While you got a second, Google or go to YouTube and punch in Vancouver crow migration, because it's something that happens every night. The crows fly out to the island and over the ocean, and they look for food and stuff. Not just over the island. There's like a lot of different places because they've divided up the lower mainland into different territories, and they all go and gather in Burnaby. And there's like this roosting spot that everybody knows. All the crows gather and they live there and they talk about the stuff that they've seen during the day with other crows, right? Like, if you want to find some of the most intelligent crows in the world that actually have like a fucking society, check out West Coast crows. There have been like documentaries done on them. Similar things happen down in Seattle as well. I'm not sure about California because I think temperature might be an issue for the corvids that far south. I don't know though. I'm not a biologist. I'm just somebody who likes birds. Yeah, look it up if you're interested. The Vancouver crow migration. It happens pretty much nightly. I used to live on Commercial Drive. There's a video I can even link you directly from Commercial Drive where they.
Oh, I
it looks
watched
like
the whole documentary on it. I watched the documentary that's on Hulu about it. Like, I followed it on TikTok.
Hang on a
documentary?
Pretty, yeah.
I'm talking specifically about like a
Vancouver crows, yeah.
No, like hang on.
Crow attacks and gosh.
Not necessarily attacks.
Of
here.
course, the picture
Always
of the damn crow with the steak knife in its mouth pops up.
This one. If I sent you the right video.
I could just
yeah. I mean, this isn't the exact one, but this is essentially what it's like every night when it happens.
Oh wow, that's a. Oh, that's a.
That happens literally every night. It's like they come back from wherever and they're all. Wow.
I will say, like, crows definitely have like. There's definitely like a little crow society outside of our house because they're all up on the wire in the morning on the telephone wire. They have like a meeting like every morning. Always like the same like 5 or 6 crows. Yeah.
So there's very few animals that we can apply the sentient or sapient titles to, but like fucking crows.
Corvids are one of them.
Crows get it
on a bag
line and sinker. A big example is the mirror test, not just being able to like recognize the reflection, but to utilize a mirror like a tool. So like if an animal uses a mirror to check whether or not someone has come or exited the environment, or whether or not they go like boop to like make contact and like see themselves making contact, that's considered like using a mirror as a tool. Again, I'm not a biologist.
No, you're absolutely right. That's the 2 steps to the mirror. First step to the mirror test is to actually see if the animal recognizes its own reflection in the mirror. Cats can sometimes pass this, but most of the time, cats, dogs, snakes, most of your pet animals can't pass that test, as the animal has more intelligent rats, corvids, parrots. They have self-recognition. They can tap the glass and say, "That's me, that's me." I think
our cats
do have self-recognition.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Because they don't.
And that's how I know they're of higher intelligence.
Yeah, they don't go after their own reflection in a mirror, and they use mirrors to track each other. Like they'll look at the like reflective glass surfaces of the house. They're smart as shit.
Because they're familiars, and they're not just cats.
Also just
but yeah, and like
machines.
Animals like monkeys, like corvids, like parrots will pick up the mirror and turn it around corners, and they can actually light things on fire using the sun's reflection off of the mirror. So that's like the next step. It's wild. Not wild, human.
Right. I need water.
Oh.
My filth. Clock. So, second. I'm going to go get.
Just sitting here polishing my egg. If anyone wants to know, I'm not jerking off in my lap. No, I'm just polishing my rhodonite egg. This is also Sophia. I don't know. This was the. Can you see my camera? No.
I can't see which you're saying you're holding.
Oh, so you don't see my face cam?
it's sectionals because of how Discord cameras work. You can see your full profile, but Discord actually crops you at about the top 45 to 50%. So anything below right here on your neckline doesn't show for me.
Oh, but
that's
so wait.
That's it. Look, if you were to go above your head, you have about 3 inches above your head and then about 4 inches below your neck. Where you put your hand there at the end, no, I can't see that. Yeah, but a little lower. No, I mean like below your chin. Like right about there is the cutoff. I'm not seeing most of your hand there.
Okay. Thank you. I know. I'm on mobile as well. I'm not on, and I was just trying to. This is the rose quartz flame that Jay was talking about. That came
Very
from.
nice.
Yes. Oh, let's take a hit. It's hit big time. Come on, everybody. We're allowed to do that because this is America. And Canada all at the same time. Isn't it amazing how that works?
That's how the internet works. It's America and Canada all at this. Brew dying in the background.
Laws are weird. Oh, it's okay. My stomach's like, hey, why did you eat a spicy burger the day that you were recovering from eating a pizza? You know that you're lactose intolerant. Why do you do this to yourself every day? And I'm like, well, because there's not much
part of the
stuff
club
on a burger that's gonna fuck me up. I've pretty much been part of the club since like 29. It's been like, it's not fun. There's a quote from Métis in Space. There's a quote from Métis in Space because apparently they went through like the exact same thing as me, and it was like, oh yeah, play it up when you're young, you know, just eat that pizza and enjoy it because you hit fucking 30 and you're done. Okay, you can't look at a piece of pizza the same way ever again, and you're gonna look at that and be like, is it worth suffering an entire afternoon or day? And I'm probably like completely paraphrasing at this point, right? But the answer is yes, it's worth it to eat that pizza. But no, like I'm paraphrasing the podcast that I'm quoting.
Yeah, the podcast.
Because I'm quoting Molly Swain, I believe it is, in Métis in Space. But that's how it is. Like when you're lactose intolerant. When I was younger, it was mostly like just milk and stuff I couldn't have, but now it's like most of it.
Everything.
For me, it's still kind of like I cannot drink a glass of milk. I cannot have ice cream. Like I should not do that. So we just get like lactate and stuff. Like if something like really heavy in cheese, I'm like, oh great. But it just sucks, man, because I used to pound down milk like crazy, and now I lactate milk, which is more expensive, and I hate it. I'm complaining.
You're complaining. I've literally been battling an eating disorder for the past week because I've realized everything I grew up on, everything I know how to cook, I'm no longer allowed to eat. I'm allowed to eat bland chicken and green vegetables, and that's about it. No rice, no pasta, no tomato, no seasonings, no dairy, no fat, no sugar. And I'm like, well then.
Oh, Christella, you'll be 29 next month. Enjoy 29. Hang on to every moment of 29. Also enjoy the beginning of your Saturn return. I mean that with the
shady.
most. I mean it with the most love. I truly mean it with love and sincerity because I'm just gonna say, hold on, strap in. It's gonna be wild.
Jay,
should we start doing Saturn return cards for people like when they hit 29? Would you say, Sophia?
How old are you?
Me, I am. Oh my god, I'm 32.
33.
Yes. I'm 33. I'm 32. Yeah. Oh, I still feel like it's still smacking me in the face sometimes, but I don't know. Maybe this is just what 30s are like. You know, it's just like a constant series of.
I'm ready to die.
No, no, I'm not ready to die.
I see why this used to be max life expectancy.
Shit gets rough. Hello, Ken. How are you? Welcome to. Glad you could jump in. I'm very happy to see you, Mr. Soul. How many souls have you eaten today?
I summoned death, honey. I did it.
Oh yeah, we were just talking. You were like, "I'm ready to die," and then Ken death himself. The reason
I'm pulling a tarot
the context
card.
is the reason I call Ken Death himself is he is a very large man with very dark hair, long dark black hair, and when he wears this giant full body leather trench coat, you swear Death just walked in the door.
My man walked into the middle of the Pennsylvania Turnpike to save my betting.
Yes.
He stopped traffic with one hand. You know Dream from Dream, like that's who. But Buffer.
Buffer. Yeah, the highway. Always
love you, Ken.
Love you, Ken.
I'm pulling a tarot card right now because that was just funny. Oh look, here's one.
If it's Death, I'm logging on. I'm turning the stream off. That's it. We're done.
I don't think that was appropriate. No, it wasn't it. I wasn't it. Keep talking.
You can't just decide that that's not the card. That's not how tarot. Could you imagine?
Yes, I can.
Like you're doing a reading and you're like, I don't like that one.
I did it, and that's why I.
But then,
back.
like, the deck still fucks you, though. It continues to fuck you. Like, as you draw cards, you're like, I don't like that card. And the deck's like, okay, pull another one. And you're like, I don't like that one either.
Okay.
Oh my god, is that fucking Death?
That was the tower.
Oh. Well, close enough. Tower time. Tower must fall. Oh, the Hanged Man and the tower.
They were stuck together. Here's the first card I drew, which was Six of Needles, so anyone can make of this reading what you will.
Yeah, I know, Ken. You're going through some shit. Yeah, you know, gentrification of Philadelphia. I hear you there. The Hangman in the tower. Yes, exactly when the cards go from bad to worse. Exactly, and you're like, oh, I'm so.
Oh no!
You're like, I'm never doing, and see, but never. It's like you get into these phases with Magic where you're like, oh no, I've gone too deep, and I'm
never
like I've attracted too many things. And you're like, I'm giving up Magic. Can't. There is no giving up Magic.
There is no giving up Magic, dum dum. It's already here. Look in the camera.
Because I always remember you talking about that, Sophia, like the moments in your life where you tried to give up Magic and you're like, well, can't. Like, it always has a way of, like, bringing you back.
Look.
Oh, your mic muted.
Oh.
Yeah, I went back on mute. I was just saying, look.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We've been watching a lot of Kindred Spirits, like, even more so usual. We've really ramped up our consumption of that show. I think it's because they have Chip Coffee on there now, and Chip Coffee is basically Scott older. But
Chip Coffee, I love you. I've been watching you since Supernatural Kids. Like, what was that in the 90s?
What if we could get Chip Coffee
you were my spiritual awakening. I would just like to say that on the record. Like, I know that's very like American teenager, like American witch. Silver Ravenwolf, what's up? She's our keynote.
Oh yeah, that's a little announcement. I haven't even announced this on Pagan Pride socials yet because I need to grab a headshot from her. But Silver Ravenwolf, Pagan Pride. For anyone listening,
really,
yeah,
Silver Ravenwolf.
I don't mean that in a really way. I mean that in a how you gonna hold back making jokes kind of really way.
Right, and so like Silver Ravenwolf is she's a lot of people know her, right? She's a big name. She's like kind of one of the OG.
She's a little cliched to death.
A lot of her early books. That's
why I was like,
yeah.
really?
So like when I was studying Wicca, everyone told me don't read Silver Ravenwolf. Don't read Silver Ravenwolf because Mick Magic. She's, fluffy bunny Wicca, things like that. And so I avoided her books for the majority of my practice. I still haven't actually read a Silver Ravenwolf book. I've thumbed through some of them, but I haven't really read one. I know her early books were kind of geared a younger audience, like the teen sort of audience. And so what I do want to do is I'm going to go to the library and grab a couple of her books and read through them, because a lot of witches that I respect, like for Matt Oren, for instance, incredibly accomplished author, witch, psychic, his early introduction into witchcraft was Silver Raven. Turns out Silver Ravenwolf actually did a lot of contribution to writing about local Pennsylvania, specifically our folk traditions, of the Pennsylvania Dutch that live out there. So she does have a good local tie for us, and she does VA. So, but I do understand she is a polarizing figure in the community, but a lot of people love her.
We got mic echo going on.
Hmm?
I could hear Jay in Rue's mic there.
Oh, sorry, I was picking me up.
It's okay. And yeah, that's what I was saying, is because I haven't actually sat down and read any of her books, so I can't judge her work off of the merit of having read it firsthand. I just know that she gets dunked on by a lot of people, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. And there's a couple caveats to this, right? Usually somebody gets dunked on by entire communities for a reason, right?
Right.
But at the same time, sometimes the dunking is I'm going to give you a really good example. In modern chaos magic communities, I'm going to say back in 2018, 2016, even earlier, people love to shit on Wiccans, right?
Oh,
and be
yeah.
like, oh, you bunch of Wiccans. But the thing is, there's a point where I reached where I had a point where I made a post in the group. I'm like, look, y'all shit talk Wiccans, but I know Wiccans who could spell fucking circles around some of y'all who don't actually have practices, who just sit here fucking armchairing it really hardcore, right?
Yeah.
So there's caveats to everything, right? There are some Wiccans who go really fucking hard, despite the Wiccan practice kind of being dogmatic and a little bit white hegemonic reinforcing, because reading the witchcraft Bible and seeing the part where it's talking about genders and how men can't be women and women can't be men, and it was you're pretty fucking stuck in your shit here.
Yeah, a lot of those books are dated as fuck, though. So I think the newer books tend to be more forgiving.
And I understand that. You're
that is why I choose steer away from Wicca.
You're not even supposed to practice Abramelic magic if you're a woman, for example, right? If I remember that correctly. I could be wrong about that.
I never heard about that.
Did you say Abrahamic religion?
In the book, the Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage. Okay. I remember reading something really sexist in it, that the magic and the workings should not be undertaken by somebody if they were a woman, right? Or some other shit like that. It was really sexist and dated in what it said, and I'm like, that's just a hallmark of it. I'd
say Druids shouldn't be women either. And guess what? I'm 50% Irish, and I have Druid in my blood, and I was born female. They say that a lot. I haven't heard of that particular tradition, but Druidic traditions follow that as well. And there are traditions that say men cannot practice magic because only women can be witches. And obviously, here we don't subscribe to any of those.
Spell this. What, Silver Ravenwolf? Or the other... What was the grimoire that you referenced, Sophia?
Or the Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage.
Abramelin. How do you spell Abramelin?
I will just get you a Google quote.
There you go. We'll get that for you.
And to reiterate, because I don't like to be 100% about a lot of things unless I'm really certain, because we're wrong about stuff all the time as human beings.
Oh God,
always fact check us if you're new here.
But I remember. Well, I mean, the thing is, if we are going to town on something, we're usually going to cite a source, right? Here we go. It's gonna be really bare bones. I'm not like giving you the PDF link or anything because I'd have to go and source one of those. But I can give you the Wikipedia article. And yeah, I remember this book having like sexist themes in it for sure. I think there was some racist shit in it too, but I would really have to go back and read it, right? And honestly, who knows? Maybe I could have like misunderstood some shit when I was reading through it. Right? I don't fucking know. There's like have you ever heard the phrase, "Oh, I like that movie. Oh, but wait, I haven't watched it recently." Right? Because stuff ages poorly, and
God, yeah.
we figure shit out as individuals and as a society as we go. So there's like shit that we laughed at in 2010 that just cannot get made now, you know, and should not get made, right? And it's the same thing with fucking magic books and other shit, right? So you take something on this scale for a book this fucking old, Jay, if you can link that to the Twitch chat, it's in voice to text.
Yes, I popped that.
For something this old, oh, you're the best. Imagine how much time and difference there's been over like 600 fucking years or some shit to have these ideas change, right? So you have to take it with a fistful of salt, not just a grain of salt. But yeah, I was reading through that book back in like 2017 it was actually, yeah, because I was learning magic from somebody who had recommended that as part of the course material. That's right, your girl studies under different people. I've done it at multiple different points, bitches. I'm just not going to name names because, well, I mean, so here's the thing. I actually recommend studying under a group as opposed to an individual, because studying under an individual has kind of a predisposition for abuse in a lot of situations.
Depending on your situation.
You have to essentially find somebody who's really matured in their practice, because like, for example, the guy I was talking about in 2017, he began to like take credit for personal growth that I made in my life and shit. Like I was talking about how I made a breakthrough emotionally, and then he was like, "Ah, good. It seems that the work I did to soften your energy paid off then." And it was like, fuck you. Fuck you. How dare you take credit for what I did for myself,
right? Yeah.
Just because you did some working, and like he really held the keys above me, like, oh, look at this. So I was like, no, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And then after I broke contact with him, the friend of mine who I knew him through, had a really bad experience that I'm not going to say. And I'm being really cagey about this. I'm not even saying who did what or even naming names or locations. So this is as vague as it could possibly be, right? But he like got abusive with the person I knew who was staying with him, like physically. And so they left. And the guy who was teaching me, his name is pretty what's the word I'm looking for? His name is shit in our circles now because we all know what he does, right? So you got to be really careful when you're learning from a singular teacher, whereas a group has people who will check and balance each other in any good group, right? So that's something I like about DKMU. It's not a fucking echo chamber, and like if you say something stupid, people will fucking just call you on your shit a lot of the time, right? And that's something that you don't necessarily get in a lot of circles, and people take that kind of thing as hostile when it's actually really a deep kindness that is being done for them. You know what I mean?
It is. You don't want to spread like misinformation like that. No.
No.
You really don't want to. The reasons are obvious. Don't want to do that.
And that's the thing. Practice. Also, there's like people do really bad psychological advice too. Like people will do pretend doctor where they're like, "Oh yeah, you clearly have this," and it's like, "Bruh, you're not a psychiatrist." Like even when I'm talking to like my friends out here IRL, I was talking to a friend a couple days ago, and I'm like, "Hey, I think you might have autism, but you should check with a psychiatrist about that."
Right.
Like that statement is so different than this means that you have autism. right? Like a lot of people do this really diagnosing shit. And I think that what sometimes people miss is that the level of certainty with which you present your statement is how people will often derive whether or not you are positioning yourself as experienced or an expert or not within that, right? And that's kind of the caveat with that. So it's like I've seen people in like our Discord who will give like straight up medical diagnoses who aren't fucking doctors, right? And then we have like nurse practitioners in our Discord we can tag, and they'll be like, listen, this is really fucking bad advice, and I'm going to tell you why right now. You know,
there's an intersection.
I don't really want to dox anybody, but
right, it's like there's an intersection. There's a natural intersection between science and magic, between what we call holistic medicine and scientific medicine, whatever, however you want to phrase it. But like, there's an intersection between the two. You have to heal mind, body, and spirit. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to take both sides of that and kind of combine everything. So I think like sometimes what we're searching for as people is like we're searching for the quick cure, the quick solution, the one-stop shop, I'm going to get my life together by doing this one thing, or you can fix my problem by doing this one thing, and it's never that easy and it's never that simple. Just remember that there is no cure-all for everything.
No.
We would say that it's weed and witchcraft, but I'm just the cure-all for everything is weed and witchcraft.
No, my martial artist mind always says the cure for everything is practice and time and lessons, because you can't always get what you need on an individual basis for knowledge as to what you need to improve. This is why therapy is important. This is why study is important. This is why group research is important, right? So like,
I just wish that I didn't waste all my time in college, like studying all this stuff that I don't really need or want or use. And I kind of wish that I could have gone to magic school for 8 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we do have time to talk about this. That's actually something interesting I've been thinking about a lot.
If I could just, I'm trying not to cry right now because while literally I would like this recorded on the podcast, while I was standing here, I saw like a full figure out of my eye standing against my computer chair. And I was overwhelmed for a second. And I did a quick reading, and this is what came up. And it's the toad.
Yeah, Flowers from the Dead Oracle.
Yeah, Flowers from the Dead Oracle. Here's the deck.
What are the keywords on
cleansing and transformation. It really not even the keywords. I wasn't even paying attention to the keywords. It was just the fact that it was 3 X's, 30, and the toad. One of my ancestors, his name is Anthony Giovanelli, and he died when he was 33 years old of lung cancer. He was never a smoker. I'm pretty sure I just saw him.
Possible. We've been doing a ton of ancestry.
We've been doing a ton of ancestry.
Which is weird
because I brought his mother's portrait into our house. My grandmother, who has been witnessed by other people in our circle, they see our ancestor altar, and my mother has seen the altar, and I just recently put a portrait that was taken of my birth grandmother, Joyce. And I just recently put that in the ancestor corner, and I don't want to turn this into like an episode of Kindred Minds or anything, but I was paying attention to the camera, and there was a young, strapping Italian man with his hair flowing and smiling, and I was like, oh my God, what is that? And so I drew this card, and then I knew that it was him, and so I just wanted to make sure that that was on the podcast and on the live stream.
And we could record
a camera pointing in that direction.
It's another thing too. I never thought I would become more interested in sort of like pack. No, I kind of want to buy a couple.
I don't know if I'm covering my back camera. I'm covering my back camera, so you wouldn't even be able to see anyways.
Right, yeah.
Right there. As you see,
Sophia bending over for the world to see.
Yeah, I can't exactly control this camera while I'm in the Discord call. But yes.
Getting the kitty.
Yep, let's just make sure that this is where that needs to be. So yeah, hi. So you see where I'm sitting. This is our couch. Hi. And that's where I would normally be sitting at my computer. And instead there was someone standing leaning on it. Now our cat is sleeping in that chair. Our black
maybe
cat
who's petting the cat?
And I can't cry because I have makeup on and he knows that. And that's why he fucking showed up, because he was like, I'm going to make you react on camera because I know I can make you react on camera. And so there you go. You're welcome, Uncle Tony. I love you. And that's that. Continue with your conversation.
I forget what the hell we were talking about. I don't know where we were.
Ancestors. They're funny, huh? I'm 33. He was 33. So you see. I
was just getting the cat to eat. Okay, so did you want to hear what I was
yes.
where I was gonna so we haven't restructured society significantly in a hot minute. We're still kind of rolling with laws from over 100 years ago.
Very outdated.
Not just because of like how things have changed with technological advancement, but like with social advancement. It's kind of fucking beyond ludicrous that we have this weird fetishization right now where we treat laws from the old, like from the past, like they're somehow better because they come from an older time, or therefore they have more.
Older does not mean more valid.
People, that's exactly what it is. People treat it like a law has more authority the longer it's been around, and I feel like we're hitting a critical boiling point as society where our schools don't work, our roads don't work, our power grids don't keep enough shit together. We have not fundamentally restructured our society to meet the demands of modernization. And it's extremely obvious if you compare ourselves to like a country like Japan, because Japan doesn't have large scale rolling blackouts like America does, because they failed to fucking upgrade the fucking grid because they refused to tax rich people. You know, I'm not going to say Japan's like a bastion of humanity or anything, but like socially they have a lot more things worked out than we do over
they give
here.
A little bit
and
more
sometimes like
shit.
when you travel, like when American the ideal of American supremacy, and that also goes for Canadian because we think we're hot shit as well. It's greatly challenged when you travel abroad to other countries that are doing their own things, and you're like, wow, they have such better infrastructure. Their food's less expensive and has less fucking toxic chemicals in it. Their rent's less expensive. What are they doing? Not unbridled corporate capitalism for the pursuit of power. That's what. Now they're still doing capitalism, don't get me wrong, but like capitalism light, even like diet capitalism, is less fucking egregiously damaging than the super hyper totalitarian capitalism that the West has developed. You know what I mean? Because like
Absolutely.
Jesus fucking Christ. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like these other countries don't have problems. Like when I visited South Korea, I learned a lot of the social issues that are going on and affecting people who live there as well, right? There's problems everywhere you go, and very often when you travel, you're only seeing the nicer parts that are like tourist approved. Like we all know those parts of our town where we all live, where ain't no fucking tourist gonna be going for an attraction. You know what I mean? And you might need to go there for like an appointment or something because like there's a clinic there, and the neighborhood costs a lot less fucking money to live in. So what you need, you can get there, right? Or if you're like a low income person, you end up positioning yourself closer to those neighborhoods because you need to be, because there's no other way to fucking afford to live, right? So like you see shit in your city and in your country that other people aren't going to see who are traveling it, right? Because people who come and travel to Canada and stay in Toronto, they stay in like the fucking financial district or the brewery district or like fucking Summerhill in York or whatever, right? And like really nice areas, and they don't have to like check out where all the homeless people live, you know, and they don't have to like go right by the area where the methadone clinic is, right? Like they don't ever have to experience the problems that the people who live in those cities have to live with, right? So that's the caveat behind that. But like, yeah, it's especially fucked, right? And we need to redress everything, right? We need to address social issues, educational issues, nutritional issues, supply chain issues, government structural issues, like representative democracy issues. There's so many things that just don't fucking work in a modern evolving society that we need to re-examine, you know?
We got to get people in power that care. Like the people that that are in charge of these things, of systems and organizations that we need for our society, like we need to get better people in there, people that actually give shit about us to serve.
I think there's only one way we're gonna get that, and it's if I gotta say it because it's gonna like paint a red target on me. But it's like,
do we have to run for office? Is that what you're about to say?
No, okay. No. I mean that's one thing. So first off, a huge amount of power is lost when people feel disenfranchised to the point where they don't get involved politically and they don't learn the laws structurally, right? When I was in my 20s and younger, I thought I was being a rebel, not conforming to the system and not doing a lot of things. And, you know, to be honest, I developed the type of mindset and way of thinking that is fairly rebellious and does help. But there's other times where I am extremely hindered because, like, I don't understand contracts or email the same way. Like I understand how email works, right? But there's a whole formalized process of how you look through emails, how you reply all. Like there's a lot of fucking nuance that goes into sending etiquette. Work emails in the professional business world. I don't fucking know it because I got raised in a small town that didn't think that email was going to be a big fucking thing in 30 years or whatever, right? And now it's how everybody does everything, and I'm fucking drastically behind because of where I came from, right? So like we really need to reassess everything, you know, like we really need to develop structures that let people learn what they need to and move forward, right? And when you disengage with those systems because you're disenfranchised and you don't do certain things, then you cede that power to the people who are going to seek it for unscrupulous means, right? Like one of my friends, like I was saying, is running for political office in the States. They are a municipal politician. They're applying for a mayoral thing, essentially, is what they're doing. They're campaigning on. They have a way that they want to work up the political ladder so that they can get to a position of power and actually make changes on a good scale, right? And I use they them pronouns for them because they're non-binary, right? And they're like aggressively queer, right? So like we have people who have kind of realized that like, hey, disenfranchisement has really robbed us of our potential to fight back in certain ways, right? And it helps if you take your power back by getting involved, right? And this can mean like running for office in your own districts, like my friend did in, I shouldn't say which state they're in, but shout out to Prism.
I know what state they're in. You don't have to mention it. I know what state.
Well, I mean, just to the audience, right? I'm talking to everybody when I say that.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you don't have to say it on live stream because I can tell him off camera.
But yeah, so like getting involved does make a difference, but ultimately, caveats, I'm not endorsing violence, I'm not saying anything, but the powerful need to be afraid of the people who they represent because fear seems to be the only motivator with which they respond. Everything relating to monetary politics can't be accessed by the average individual when you have so little money that you're struggling to eat, right?
Yeah.
You need to have some form of holding people in power accountable. if they should egregiously misuse their power, right? There needs to either be a hard-baked system for people to be able to like vote out corrupt politicians. Like there should be able to do like citizens referendums where we can just like get together and vote people out who are fucking pissing us off, right? We should have that power. The fact that we don't is because it's been systematically kept away from us, right? And if we can't get that power legislated to us, you have to take that power by force. That's how revolution works, right? Like the French monarchs were not just going to give people the ability to have a free and just society.
Yeah, they weren't going to do that. There's no way.
Exactly, it's not in their vested
interest.
Let
me see how long France has been revolting for, and it doesn't even make news anymore. And yes, there are still riots in the street. There are still buildings on fire. They're still building guillotines, and you don't know anything about it because nobody wants you to know anything about it.
I still know a fair bit about it too. The thing is,
I was just saying for the general audience.
In here, like
the thing about France is there's propaganda against them where everybody shit talks the French because they're the only nation that actually understands the power of collective action against like powerful elites, right? Like that's why everybody fucking doesn't like France on like an international corporate scale. It's because they will just straight up storm your fucking corporate building and tear it apart stone by stone and fucking crush you with those stones if they need to, right? Because they understand that they have to do something, or
and that's
the fucking corporations will just do whatever they want and kill whoever they want in their way, right?
That's the only thing corporations respond to is if you try to like dismantle it, brick by fucking brick kind of thing,
Yeah. I was listening to a Landback podcast. It's on YouTube. I'm actually really glad they're finally starting to I'm at least finally starting to find good videos to watch on it and stuff. And they were talking about oh fuck, I just had it in my head. No, it's gone. Oh well. I'll remember it.
Circle back. So Ken actually asked in the chat, Rue, if you would do I don't know if you want to do that on or off camera.
I already put my cards away.
Oh, you put the card.
I'll do one for you after, Ken.
We'll do one off camera for
you. No, I mean, if you want to, you can give her. I gotta think for a second to try and remember.
I just said literally I already put my decks.
Oh, you just put.
No, it's fine. Say they're right here. That's why I had them right here. I set myself up a whole like recording studio session like right here.
Like a mobile
so I assume you want this one because a mobile recording studio. Exactly. I got my piano set up over there. I'm gonna start teaching myself show tunes, and I'm gonna start making my tiki-takis. Between having a mental breakdown and trying to sustain the revolution. Right?
No, I think
it's gone.
It's gone. All good. I mean, we're at like an hour and 20 longer. I know it's been a while since we recorded. Okay to go over by a little bit, but not many people watch and or listen to podcasts. It's different because it's like difficult. It's like we do it as a live stream, and I know longer live streams are usually better, but long podcasts are not better. So I don't know. We'll do like a little sweet spot at like an hour.
Hour and a half. So this is where we gotta that just requires more editing. And if someone wants to edit for us for free, like someone wants to volunteer their services to edit our podcast because we just don't have the time or energy.
Well, that's why I do it this way.
That would be wonderful. I know, right?
Requires minimal editing. So it's like we're doing it live. Whatever you say is what you say. You cannot take it back. That's why I'm always like, is it okay if we go live before I hit this button?
Oh, wasn't that funny? You already popped up once. Well, there you go, Ken. That pretty much sums you up now, doesn't it?
So what have we pulled here? What is the card we pulled?
We pulled King of Potions, which is potions are cups. That's just a specific Nightmare Before Christmas set. It's emotions, Ken. It's. I just pulled a card saying, "Hey, you got a message for him" or anything like that. We talked about this before. You have magic, and I know that you can sometimes be scared of that, and that's cool. That's cool. Like, hello, look at us. We're literally just out here. We're trying to do something that no one has done before. We're trying to be innovators. We're trying to be, that's where innovators, influencers, it's all, we used to be doctors. We used to be advisors. That was our role in life, was to be servants. But in our minds, we're still royalty because we know how much power we have. So there you go, honey. Oh, mind me as I choke.
But yeah, we're like coming up to an hour and a half. Any sort of concluding thoughts for today's episode? Today was like another catch-up episode. I know we've done like 1,000 of them back to back, and I'm so sorry. It's because we have these big ass gaps in between. I am hoping that things will kind of even out and calm down for a couple weeks. Really trying to put that energy out there so that we can get back on a consistent recording schedule, because I function better when I have a schedule. That's kind of my personal goal. So any concluding thoughts that we kind of want to wrap up on for today's session?
Revolt. Take
Fuck
the power
patriarchy.
Back. Corporations will not give you anything, but they will take endlessly until we have all died.
Yeah. And I kind of experienced that, like, definitely pretty strongly.
Also,
past couple.
Also, look at these fucking strawberries on my earrings.
They are very
adorable.
Alrighty. With that, I think all in the next episode. I am hoping to be much more active in Discord. I don't think I'm gonna really be doing our Twitter account, because I also like broke my phone in addition to breaking my foot, and I have not logged back into Twitter, so like I don't think I'm doing Twitter anymore.
Fuck
just
Elon Musk,
if you want to
anyways.
like commute, just join our Discord. Kind of like now, I'll probably do some Instagram, Facebook posts to be in that algorithm, so people can kind of find us through there. But I think I'm done with Twitter, so don't look for us there.
Fuck Meta.
Yeah, I mean, fuck all the major ones, but yeah, if you really want to like come in, really talk to us, just join a little community. Discord's really the place that I'm just gonna start to focus everything inward instead of outward, and then I'm just going to do magic to attract the people that I want to listen to the podcast, because it's a better way than doing the whole Google algorithm bullshit nonsense. So that's the plan. For anyone, I'm just glad you've stuck around this long, and we hope to keep on going. That's the plan. Alrighty, we will see you in the next episode, and have a good rest of your day.
Bye, sluts.